So I got one of these, and this version comes with the ability to put cartridges inside of the top. It comes with 85 games, but it also comes with lets you put cartridges in. But you may be wondering how what cartridges can be put on, like how many. And well, all of these work, including this game. So I'm not going to test them again. But these aren't the ones you're wondering about, or maybe not the ones you're wondering about. But I tested them all, and some of them take a while. Some of them take you have to like blow in the cartridge to make them work and stuff. But they do eventually work. Some say Sonic 3 doesn't work, but it did work for me. So they're all good. But I got some cartridges that kind of might do weird things. Either don't work or would be weird. And I'm gonna try this one first. And I did actually try them before, so I know what happens. But I'm gonna try it. You may be wondering why my Genesis is all the way over here when the TV's over here and I have a plug-in over there. And I will explain why that's like that. I have it plugged in over there. I'll explain why I have that happening later. Because I'm gonna save the best for last, though I should warn you, when I do show it, don't expect it. It like half works. I'm just gonna tell you straight up. But let's try Sonic and Knuckles. On my CRT TV, getting it to work. It's loading the cartridge, and it's got it. So let's select it, and it works. So that's not that crazy, right? It does, it works, but I think what you're really wondering, though, is oh wait, I'm supposed to put the cartridge. Okay. Put the cartridge back. And then see what happens when you put a Sonic 2 on it. It's only one I'm gonna test, but let's do it. Has to do this every time, but that's fine. It's loading. Taking a little while, but it should get there soon. I mean, you can't really see it because it's a CRT. It doesn't really have... Can't really show words. But you can see the bar. It's getting there. It is getting there. Okay, let's see what happens. What's that? Is that 2 cartridges? One that says Sonic and Knuckles, and one that says Sonic, Sonic the Hedgehog 2. So let's try the first one. That is Sonic and Knuckles. So let's try the other one. Let's turn this a bit down. So you may have noticed that what it does is give you both the games. Give you Sonic and Knuckles and the game that's on top of it. So it does not combine them like it would on an actual Genesis, the lock-on technology. It gives you both the games individually, so that is a shame, I suppose, but who knows, I suppose. But it's pretty cool that it has 2 games on it. It's kind of weird. I didn't think it would even do that. It's kind of strange. But now we can try a different game. I'm not going to try the ones who know what they do. The Sonic 1, Sonic 3, and any other game will do what it does. I'll just give you a second. Okay. Okay. So, what game to try next? Well, this, you may have already guessed why this doesn't work. And it doesn't work because it's dirty. It just doesn't work. But I'll try it. I'll just show you what happens when you get a dirty game to work on it. That's kind of what that game's here for. It's just to demonstrate what it tries to do if it's too dirty, which it's good enough to load the cartridge. So it is loading the cartridge, and it has the name, though you can't really see the name, but it does have the name. But once you boot it up, well, it is a bit corrupted. Anyways, it didn't work before, but I suppose it just needed a few tries. But you can see that there's a bit of corruption going on. So there's okay, well, normally, the last times I tested it, it just had a black screen. So it does actually work, and I suppose that it was corrupted, but whatever. And normally it would have a black screen. It's really dirty, it probably wouldn't show up at all. But, yeah. Okay. I really need some leverage on that one. So here's this game, which you may not know what it is, but it is an unlicensed game. So it's not manufactured or have any kind of, it's sort of a bootleg, but it's It's original game, so it's not really a bootleg. But let's test it out. This probably won't happen with every bootlegs, but this was kind of a strange thing that happens with this game. And what does happen is something I'll show you. Oh, it's loading. Or is it? It's at 0%. Yeah. So, yeah, that's what happens. It perpetually stays at 0% forever. Really. I've actually had this thing on, trying to load this thing for several hours, and it never worked. It never did anything, so it is truly just on that forever. It's at 0% indefinitely until you turn it off or whatever. Yeah. So sort of soft locks the whole console too. So yeah, the game actually does have a piracy protection, so maybe that's the reason. It's actually pretty good piracy. It's pretty difficult you have to do something with an emulator to get it to work on the game, on the computer, so, who knows, right? Anyways, let's try a strange one. So, this. Sega Channel. Normally this needs to have its own power cord as well, which I don't have, so I can't really test that working, but what happens if you try to put it in is kind of strange, and I'll show you what happens. It's actually something that doesn't work all the time, but I'll try to show you. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, it actually crashes the console. You may not be able to really see what this is because of the glare, but it is an Android error. There's a good picture. Yeah. Yep, so it totally breaks the whole console, which is, so don't do that, is what I say. I suppose that is more. So what else is there? There's absolutely no other consoles or cartridges that can work. Like, there's nothing else here. I've tested everything. I tested all these games. What else is there? That'd be very strange to put on. So I don't have a Game Genie to test. And I don't have more than one Game and Sonic and Knuckles cartridge. What else is there? Well, let me get it. Yeah. Yeah, and it's plugged in. Everything. So what happens if you put this into one of these things? Well, so this is the reason why I have this over here, is because I don't have an extension cord. And I need to plug this over there. And it won't reach over there. So, here we go, let's try it out. Strange 32X cartridge. Okay, so nothing happens. That's because there's no game in the 32X, is there? Well, gotta put a game in there then. So I actually did test it with every one of these games. And, well, I'll show you this one. And I'll tell you what the rest of them do. Because they're sort of the same. But let's test it out. There it is. A Monopoly's in there. So it doesn't actually work. It does. Other than that sort of corruption at the start. Oh no. Oh no. That's just that's a start menu for the console. But yeah, that's it sort of works a bit less than what it would be if you were to put it without the 32X. Okay, that did that on its own. Whatever. Let's shut this thing off. And yeah, you may have guessed. Monopoly is actually the one that works the most. Unfortunately, the one that works. Every other one kind of has some of their own kind of weird glitching to them. Some of them don't start at all. Some of them do a bit, and then crash immediately. Monopoly is the one I've had the best success with, despite it still being broken. Well, that's its own thing, but isn't that something now? And it'll only work if the 32X is plugged in. 32X actually does have to be plugged in. It just won't register if it's not. But here is this one, which you may have been wondering about, and it's a 32X cartridge. So let's test this out and see what happens. So, if the 32X does actually work, hey, maybe this one works. Who knows? I mean, I already tested it. But, you know, you get the suspense yourself. Get to see. You don't know what's in it. You don't know what happens. Let's see what happens. Let's try that again. Didn't register, did it? Is it because it's a 32X cartridge? Who knows? This isn't working out, is it? Let's try to... I'm gonna try to blow into the cartridge. They say it doesn't do anything, but it does feel like it does something. And in the end, isn't that what really matters? Oh, it's doing something. What, did it register? You may not be able to see, but that says Cosmic Carnage, which is the name of the game. Let's try it out. Uh-oh. It's a black screen. Well, that is actually the farthest I've gone with that. Unfortunately, I think most of the games that go into 32X have been black screens. So, I'm thinking that this might be a... It's a shame that it doesn't work, but it may be a lead to something. You know? Might be something to like investigate, you know? The fact that it actually loads, it gets a name there and everything. Maybe it can't load everything, and maybe it would not work at all. But who knows, you know? I mean, the 32X is actually pretty close to the Genesis. So, maybe having a Genesis emulator is almost like having a 32X emulator. You know? But... And I did tell you not to get your hopes high with it, because it unfortunately does not play the game. But I think that the fact that it gets this far, the fact that it reads the name and loads the cartridge on a 32X, I think that means a lot. So that's my investigation. I've been working on this for a while, and I think I made some discoveries. Nobody's tested a Sega Channel thing or Sega 32X. I'm the first one to do it on YouTube, at least. So I hope that I made some interesting observations for people to watch. What a shame. So, update video. I decided to do something a bit strange. And what I decided to do was open the thing up. Since 32X games take similar kind of slots as a Genesis, I can just put the thing inside. And I can test it out. you know. But it's we can see it directly without the 32X making things worse. We can just see what happens when it's directly at the thing. So it does get the name, and so yes, it still is a black screen, and I did test this before a few times. And unfortunately it does not work. Which, to be honest, makes sense, because every cartridge that goes into the thing is loaded up, so it gets played using the emulator. So 32X doesn't really do anything, because it just gets loaded up, so it uses whatever's inside the console. And if the console can't play 32X games, then nothing will add to it, will make it work. My thought process was that Genesis games were close enough to the 32X that maybe having emulator of 1 would just work for 32X. But I don't really understand the hardware of it. So who knows really. But it doesn't seem like it's possible. Oh, well, whatever. Yes. It's cool that it gets a name, which must be just because it must be able to actually load up the cartridge. It just can't process what the game is, because it just can't emulate it. So but it might actually load up the entire cartridge, which could explain why there's a loading bar that takes a fair amount of time. And it's probably able to read the name because it's probably just a simple code within the cartridge. So, I don't know. I suppose that's how it is. But that is all the things tested, so it's all good.